Hi everybody, I'm just making a little video here of some of the chords that we covered on last term, just in case you may have forgotten them, and just so you can look back at these videos and see where my fingers are and all of that. So I'm just going to put the camera down near my hand here now. So remember that this is, even when I'm sending you some diagrams and whatever, remember this is our first string on the guitar, the bottom one when you're holding it. So we're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's very important for when you're reading the diagrams. So we have our G, our third finger, well, depending on what you want to call it. We've got thumb, first, second, third. Third finger is on the first string in the third fret. These are all our frets. First finger is on the fifth string in our second fret, and the third finger is on the sixth string in the third fret, and our thumb is in here behind. And remember not to have this too tight here. If it's too tight, then you're going to catch all those strings. So you should have a little space here that you could even push your finger in there. Yeah, so it's very important that you hold it in a way that doesn't really catch all those bottom strings. And also that our fingers are bent. If your fingers are like that, you're going to catch two strings at once. So keeping our finger bent, making sure that it's the top of the finger here, not the flat part here. So we're going to be aiming for here, right at the top of our finger, not down here. Okay, so keep those bent. If you need to file your nails down, they don't have to be too short, but just not long. Okay, so here we have our G. And I know a lot of the songs that we did last term were down, down, up. Down, down, up. The right hand, down, down, up. Down, down, up. So that's G major. Okay, now we had one that's very similar. It's called a C add 9. So all we have to do for C add 9 is just move down our finger one string and move this down one string. This one stays the same. And here we have our C add 9. Now the only thing we have to remember with this is when we're strumming, not to strum this string, because otherwise you'll get that sound. So you're strumming from here. Down, down, up, down, down, up. Strumming from that fifth string. So that's our G and our C add 9. G. And as I often say in class, the only way to get faster with these chords is to go from one to the other. G, C, G, C add 9, G, C add 9, G, C add 9, G, C add 9. Just to get faster, because it's muscle memory. So so 250,000 times it takes for all that to sink in and for us to remember it off the top of our head. So remember, loads of practice if you can. So try and aim to do, you know, the least amount, 10 minutes, but you know, half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour. Pick a time as well. It's a good idea to pick a time maybe before school if you're somebody who gets up early, or after school, straight after you come home from school. You know, do your half-hour music. And maybe take the guitar out of its case and leave it, if you have it in your room, leave it somewhere that you'll see it, even, you know, if you're you know, in your room doing something, that you pick up the guitar maybe even for 5 or 10 minutes or a few minutes and just run through something, even when you're not doing your practice. So pick a time. I think it's always a good idea. If you pick a time, then you won't forget about it and you get into a routine. So that's G, that's our G and our C add 9. Okay. Okay, now we're going to do our next major chord. So we had a D. So for our D, we're getting our first finger, and this is our thumb is in behind, first finger up on the 3rd string in the 2nd fret. Second finger is on the 1st string in the 2nd fret, and our 3rd finger is on the 2nd string in the 3rd fret. And when you're looking at this video, okay, you've got to gauge, you know, it might look like it's the other way around. Just remember the way you're holding the guitar. You're going to have the guitar up. I think most of my students last year were all right-handed. So the right hand is going to be here, left hand is going to be here. So that's the way the guitar should be. So when you're holding it like this, this is your 6th string, the first one for you, and the 1st string is down the bottom. So here's our D. First string on the 3rd string, first finger on the 3rd string, 2nd finger on the 1st string, and 3rd finger on the 2nd string. And we're not strumming up here. We're not going to strum up here for D, because we'll get this sound again. So we're going to strum from the 4th string. Just keep your hand, don't overthink it too much. Just keep your hand down lower when you're strumming. And again, if you're not getting a good sound in any of the chords, see what's wrong. You know, is your hand too tight here? Are your fingers too flat? If your fingers are too flat, you're going to get that sound. So make sure your fingers are bent, make sure there's some space down here, your thumb is in the back. That's our D. That's the down, down, up again. And then we did an A. Our A is a nice easy one, so we're going to start on the 4th string and our 2nd fret here. The 2nd finger is just going to underneath it, and the 3rd finger underneath that. So first on the 4th, 2nd on the 3rd, and 3rd finger on the 2nd. Now, again, it's very important the way you hold your hand, that your fingers are not going out like that into the 3rd fret. So you have to bend them, slide down your thumb a little bit at the back, and again, make sure that you have space underneath here, that these fingers are not tight, really tight like that, and that the thumb is not down like that. The thumb should be holding the back of the guitar. So that's our A. Again, fingers bent, pressing them in. And then we also did our C major. And for some of you, well, I'll just do the C major first. Our C major is first finger on the 2nd string, 2nd finger on the 4th string, and 3rd finger on the 5th string. And again, we got to make sure that we don't, when we're strumming, that we don't hit the 6th string. Now the C is a little bit more of a stretch for people, so it can be a bit of a harder chord. Make sure that that finger is not going out there. Make sure that this finger isn't here. Just be careful, and of course that it's not really tight with our wrist up here. That's our C. And for some of you, I moved on to CG, and our CG is just where we add this note here. We add our little bass note here. So it's the very same thing. Here's our C, but we just move, we get this finger taking the place of this one, and we move this one up here. If we did it that way, it would be a bit more awkward. So all we're doing is adding an extra finger, really. And that's CG. And that just means that you have a little bit more scope of, you get a deeper sound, and you can strum up here, because now you've got a finger on this 6th string. So like, as apart from if I didn't have it on, see, I get that sound. So I've got to make sure not to hit that. It's also very useful if you had something that was like a if I didn't have that finger there. See, I get that sound. So so it just but if you find I only done that with a few people, if you find that too hard, just stick with the C, but don't play the top string. And I don't think we moved on to F. I'm just going to move on to, so that was, we had our G, our D, our A, our C. I'm just going to show you the minors. So we had the minors that we did were E minor, which is first finger on the 5th string, second finger on the 4th string in the 2nd fret. Again, make sure your hand is not tight, make sure there is space and fingers are bent. And the thumb is in behind. And our next minor is our A minor. So we start here, our first finger is in the 1st fret, 2nd string, second finger is on the 4th string and in the 2nd fret, and 3rd finger is on the 3rd string in the 2nd fret. Again, bending those fingers and not having it tight like that. And I'm not sure if we did, I'm just going to put in D minor. I may have done D minor for a few of you. If not, it's a new chord we need to learn anyway. D minor. Our first finger is going to be on the 1st string in the 1st fret. Our second finger is going to be on the 3rd string in the 2nd fret. And our 3rd finger's got to stretch out all the way here to the 2nd string. Now again, it's very important. If you have your hand really tight up here, this chord is not going to work. So you gotta drop your thumb a little bit and bend these fingers and make sure the space is here. For this one, we're not going to strum the top strings either. That's our D minor. Stretch out your fingers as much as you can away from each other. So, for some of you, we're doing Boulevard of Broken Dreams, and I'm just going to run through that now here. And that was our E minor, to the G, to the D, to the A. Keeps going. On to the chorus. Here we're gonna do a C. Now that's a C G that I've done, but if you've only done C, go for this one. My shadows deep only. Now we're going to an E minor. My shadow G and D and D minor, C and G and D. We got a new chord here. C, G, B7 and B7. Our B7 is just our first finger on the 4th string in the 1st fret, our second finger on the 5th string in the 2nd fret, and our 3rd finger on the 3rd there. And make sure to hit these strings up here. Some people have seen them. may still keep hitting down there, but remember these are where the fingers are pressing in. And that's that song. And those list of chords, they play so many songs, like what else was in that? There's one that was all the other kids with the pumped up kicks. I can't, the name of the band won't come to me now, but Johnny's got a big hand. Now it's a different strum, but Radioactive, one by the Imagine Dragons. What else? Shotgun, I think. No, Shotgun. Oh, Old Town Road. Oh, to the Old Town Road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. So all those chords fit that. And then we have our, I know for we did our Christmas songs. We did Silent Night and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and some of these. So we need to move on from those now, because Christmas is over, and we need to move on to something new. So if any of you have any ideas, sure you can tell me in class anyway, of new things you want to do. But let me just, I'm just going to pick one, like Somebody Like You. That Lewis Capaldi one. I'm going under, and this time I feel there's no one to... Sorry, that's in C now, I'll give it to you in G. I'm going under, and this time I feel there's no one to save me. That'd be quite high. We'd probably need to do it in the key of C. But anyway, if you wanted to sing on the lower octave, I'm going under, and this time I feel there's no one to save me. That's it all the way through, G and D and E minor C. You could get your capo and put it on the 4th fret and bring it up in key, and then you'd be able to sing. If we did it in the key of C, so that's just some practice for your other chords. Now we haven't done F yet. I'm just going to show you F here as well today. So this is C, and you know, for anybody who hasn't moved on to these chords, you know, they just be having a look at this video, and I want to try and have, for the next few weeks, to have a lot of our major chords done, to have our G, D, C, A, so the only ones will be left out. So if we go from the alphabet, A, B is a bar chord, but I'm going to show you possibly a version you can do of it. C, D, E, F and G. So we just have E and F left to do. So I'm going to show you F here now. So here's our C. Now if we're doing our F, all we need to do is drop down a finger. So drop down to the 3rd, drop down to the 4th. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we try and hold down them 2 strings at the same time, but don't worry about that too much. So the first finger, if you just get it on the 2nd string there on the 1st fret, get this one on the 3rd string up and this one on the 4th string up. We got to make sure we don't play these strings up here. And we got to, as we go on, try and hold down these 2 strings with this finger. But if you can get it like this, and for anybody who's moved on and we've done C, G, I would do this F as an F, C. So again, same thing. You're just bringing that 3rd finger up to the 5th and taking the place of the 4th one with this little finger. Now this is only for people who have progressed on to C, G. And you're doing a song in C, G, you can use that FC, it's called. It's just again adding that C note to it. But for anybody else who has just started doing C, you can just do that C and just bring down the two fingers there, and that's our F. So all we've left then is the chord of E. So I'm just going to show you that now before I go here. So for E major, we're going to count up 1, 2, 3 strings and get our first finger there in first fret. Second finger is going to go on the 5th string, and our third finger is going to go on the 4th string. That's our E. 3rd string, 5th string, 4th string on that 2nd fret. Again, make sure nothing's tight here and that those fingers are bent. Cool. Okay, that's just running through all our chords, and we'll be picking some songs to work on in class, and I'll be putting up more videos of whatever songs we do. But this is just something for all of you to look over if you've forgotten any of the chords. Okay, bye.